last drive ever in my DeMan 4.5 liter GT3. This car just wakes you up. You get in it and you know it's something special. What's up everyone, welcome back to Miami Miles. My name's Mickey. In today's video, we're saying goodbye to the DeMan 4.5 liter GT3. It is a bittersweet day. This has been one of the most exciting cars I've ever owned. But guys, I think it's time to move on. I purchased the replacement to this, something drastically different. Something that's gonna give me different experiences, because I feel like that's so important to have different experiences in your garage. And right now, I've got the 4RS, the 997.2 3RS, and this. And I've had this the longest, I've enjoyed it the most. I think it's time for another owner to savor this experience and to enjoy what is the craziest manual GT3. So today, we're gonna go to Zweck where the car will be consigned, and I'm gonna walk you through my journey with the car and why I've decided to move on. So let's get right into it. What better way to start the goodbye drive in the GT3 4.5 liter touring. It's a very, very sad day, but I think it's important to kind of walk you guys through the journey of how we got here. If you guys remember, I traded my 600LT in for this car a couple years ago now, and to me that was a very good trade. Even though the 600LT looked better, this was a much better proposition. Not only was the car more comfortable, but it had side muffler deletes, so it still had a scream up to 9,000 RPM. And right away, it made me realize why I fell so deeply in love with Porsche so long ago. Because the GT products just have a character and a specialness to them, with that flat 6 that revs all the way to 9,000. Like, the change in character as you build through the rev range is tremendous. But the thing about this car is, about 1.5 years into the ownership experience, when I got my 600LT, I was like, look, my 600LT is $500,000-$600,000 of a car, and it's every bit that good. And I had at the time a 981 GT4, and I figured between those two cars that would be more than enough in my garage to satisfy two very dynamically different driving experiences. So I decided to sell this at that time. And when I went to go list it, I realized that this was my first GT3 ever, and this emotional tie and connection to it made me not want to sell it. It made me want to keep the car, which meant I'd have to sell the GT4, but because the 765 was so much better, I had to make this thing more special. And for some reason, I had in the back of my mind that Matt Farah video ringing, where he drove that 4.5 liter DeMan GT4 through the mountains in New York. So I was like, let's do that upgrade to this GT3. And you guys know that story. It's very well documented. I'll link down below the video that goes through the whole thing. But I think it's important to note that when I received the car, the experience had transformed so much that I fell in love again. It was one of my favorite cars I'd ever driven. It was on the level of the 765. I think I like the 765 a little bit more because it just gave you that special factor. But I loved it. I loved it. I fell in love, and I thought that the $60,000 that I had paid were very well spent. Now fast forward, and I acquired the GT4 RS and the 997 GT3 RS. And I think it was the 997 3RS that completely changed my perspective on this car, because that thing is so special. It is pinnacle Porsche, any of you that love Porsche and want to drive a car that represents the brand's ethos so well, you have to drive that thing. Not only is it raw, every input matters. There's so many variables when you're driving to make it drive smooth that it just pulls you in and immerses you in this experience. And as you guys know, I added the Dundon plenum, and that car is practically straight pipe, so it has the sound to now go along with the power. And I found myself in a predicament where I found myself having over $800,000 in Porsches and constantly going for the keys of the 997.2 RS. That's my favorite car. So I had to make a decision. Which car do I sell? Do I sell the 4RS or do I sell the GT3? Now the crazy thing is I've already bought the replacement for this, a car that's drastically different than all of the Porsche experiences. So I figured the best garage I could keep would be the 4RS, that car, and the 3RS. So this is the car on the chopping block, and that doesn't mean that this isn't the greatest GT3 I've ever owned, because from a driving perspective, I think it's got the most duality in its personality. It can be comfortable when you want it to be comfortable in situations like this in traffic, and then when you want to turn it up and put it in loud exhaust mode, it pulls just as hard as a Turbo S. And I've actually raced a Turbo S before stock, and that car could not pull on this, and that's represented in the dyno graphs that shows that this car makes a comfortable 100 wheel horsepower and torque through the rev range over the 4-liter, which is insane. And then peak numbers are 60 to 70 horsepower and 60 to 70 torque. So this car has the duality and the insanity when you want to turn it up, and in a moment when we merge onto the highway, I'll show you just that. So when you want to get the most out of this car, turn the exhaust on, put it in sport mode, downshift a couple times, listen to this. 9,000. DeMan GT3, and those two words are sound and torque. This thing delivers just as much torque as a Turbo S. As a matter of fact, I've raced a stock 992 Turbo S, and that car could not walk away from this. But the sound, how deep it is, it's lost some of the screech and pitch of the GT3, but it's added this bass that makes the experience even more exhilarating. And I'm going to give you one more taste of that. Roll down the windows. And within a few short seconds, you are sweaty, full of adrenaline. This car just wakes you up. You get in it and you know it's something special. I would, to give you guys context, compare it to an 812 with a Novatec exhaust. I'm not going to say it's as fast as an 812 because it's not, but it has that duality where it's calm and reserved, and then when you turn it up, you get the sound, the emotion, the experience, and the torque that you get from no other Porsche in the world. And that's why I love this DeMan upgrade so much. I love it so much. And I'm so sad to let this car go, but right now, with all the money I have tied up in a bunch of cars, it's the right move for me. I know I'm going to regret it, but guys, let's head to Zweck and kind of calm down. I'm going to give you guys the price, and hopefully one of you that watches this channel purchases the car and gives me first right of refusal if you ever take it to market. We'll see you in a minute. Well, presumably that's the last drive ever in my DeMan 4.5-liter GT3 Touring. But before we say goodbye, wow, bro, this showroom is so ridiculous always. So Sunil was telling me this is a one-of-one Porsche made race car, and I think it's 1.5 to $2 million or something like that. Holy shit. Dude, the nutty part is that it's mint. And I think this is a car from early 80s, late 70s. Yo, they got another CGT back. So they sold the other one and then got this, and I gotta ask him how much it is because he's got to discount it for me 50%. It's a Cuban Hialeah discount. This is my dream. Dude, it continues. 911R. I think there is 991 of these ever made. And it was funny because this was the reason why Porsche created the Touring, because all the flippers took this. If you guys remember, they were selling them for over $1 million. So they made the Touring. Touring killed the values of these, but these are still like $500,000-600,000. And then the Gunther Works. So all in all, I don't know, there's probably $10 million in this showroom. And that's not even counting what's upstairs. But yeah. All right, so that's that. Time to take an Uber home. The last drive ever in my DeMan 4.5 liter GT3. The relationship has come to an end. I'm not saying this is the end of the line, but it's probably pretty close. If you guys are interested in this car, you can hit me up or Zweck. Come in, take a look at it. Notice how impeccable a shape it's in. And hopefully you guys can go for a drive. I'm really gonna miss it. Look, if it doesn't sell or if I only get bullshit low offers, I'm probably gonna keep the car. Because it wouldn't be worth it to me just to get a little bit of money out of it. I really just want to get at least $255,000 for the car. If you guys want to make me an offer, feel free. I'm open and receptive to anything. If you make an offer and we come to an agreement, you will get perhaps the greatest GT3 Touring in history, and in my opinion, the best 991 GT3 in history. So anyways, guys, that's it. If you guys enjoyed that video, go down below, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, all that stuff, and I look forward to seeing you next video. Take care. Bye-bye, GT3.